y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope, and welcome to my chain link earrings part 10. This is the final video of this series. I will make sure they're all on a playlist and put that right here for you so you can watch all the others. Now, the items needed for this set of earrings, or at least one of these earrings, is a chain link, a button, 5 beads, a little length of wire, 5 head pins, and an ear wire. So, and you could do any combination of this that you want, add more of the beads, add less of them, however you want to do it. But I'm just showing you one of the options for this. So the first thing I'm going to start with is that short length of wire that is probably 3, maybe 4 inches, and I'm just folding it in half. Actually, I'm not even folding it in half. I'm curving it in half. I don't want to fold it. I don't want that bend there, but I do want a slight curve, and I'm going to insert that into 2 of the holes of my button. Now I'm going to do this diagonally from one another because this button has 4 holes in it. Some buttons have 2, some have 4. I would not try this with a shank button. It would be a little more difficult. Now once I've got my button slid down to where we made that little curve in the wire, I am going to insert the wire into my large chain link and then bend those wires straight up from the top of that chain link. You can choose, this is completely symmetrical. I'm just picking one side to be the top, but it's got to be the peak of it. Now, if you have a round link, it doesn't really matter which way you do. And then, as you may have seen, I took one end of the wire and pulled it around to the front, or where the front of the button is, and wrapped that around the chain link. And then I'm doing right now the other side. I'm trying my best to keep any kinks out of the wire. You see, I'm fiddling it with a little bit. And yeah, it's a little fiddly here. This is part of the reason I have this as the last video in the series. The first one was the easiest of the techniques, and we're working up to this, which I considered the hardest because it was the fiddliest. As you see there, I'm trying to get all that wire nice and tight, pulling it, and yeah, see there, it's quite loose. So I was trying to decide what to do there, how to tighten it, and I've already got one done, so I knew how to do this. I was just trying to decide how best to fix this. So I've unwrapped it a little there because it was just one side, and I'm going to retighten this, y'all. So that, like I said, that it's a little too fiddly for me. I mean, not too fiddly for me. It was a little fiddly, and that's why we're doing this as the last one. Now, I want to go ahead and say while I'm doing this, I'm going to wrap this one more time as well. So I think it's wrapped 2 times the same manner, and I'm tightening it as best as I can. That was the hardest part, was getting that nice and tight. So I'm going to repeat that process of pulling that wire around to the front. First, I'm going to squeeze that wire together to make sure that, for one thing, it stays behind the button and kind of hidden, and secondly, to just make it easier to make sure it stays tight. So I want to go ahead and say that because this is the last video in this jewelry series, I don't really have any other jewelry making videos lined up right now, and I haven't seen a whole lot of interest in this one. So those of you who have come and watched these videos, let me know if there's something else that you're interested in learning or finding out, or would like me to show, because I'd love to keep sharing this knowledge that I have, even if I sometimes don't believe it's completely knowledgeable. All right, so I've got those 2 links, and I am squeezing those together. And then I'm going to basically take one of the wires and bend it out sideways at a 90-degree angle from the other wire, just like that. And then I'm going to wrap it around that one that's sticking straight up several times, just to kind of make sure I don't have a loose wire there. And then I'm going to trim that and tuck it. And with that wire, well, I'm going to tuck it using my chain nose pliers there, kind of push that down against the wire to make sure it's not poking up anywhere. And then I'm going to form a wrapped loop. And I know I wanted that in the same direction as my chain link. So I folded it that same direction, and then I'm going to make a wrapped loop. I'll put a link up here to my, I have a tutorial on making wrap loops. But basically you make a loop and then you wrap the stem of that loop. And when you get down where that stem is wrapped, you will trim your wire and tuck it. So here I'm trimming that. And again, I'll take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to just, and I say tuck it, but really you're just trying to press that little end of the wire against the wrap so that it's not poking up so where it'll poke somebody. Now, once that's done, I'm going to make dangles. I have 5 small beads and 5 head pins. Now, when I'm working with multiples like this to do the same thing over and over again, I like to do it all at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is put each of my beads on a head pin. 1 bead per head pin for these dangles. Once I get them all on here, on their head pins, I'm just going to turn a 90-degree angle right directly above the bead. I tend to use my nail to hold everything and turn that wire against my fingernail, just like that. And if it's not right, I re-straighten it and I do it again, just like that. And then once I get all of them bent, I'll come back in with my wire cutters and trim them down to a length to make a simple loop. I tend to use the side of the width of my finger as a gauge. Now I like to do all of this kind of at the same time to get some consistency in it, because if I threaded it, bent it, and trimmed it and then looped it all did one at a time, that whole process one and then that whole process another, I might not get the same lengths every time or the same bend. When I do it this way, it tends to be a bit more consistent. I can say, okay, yeah, just a second ago instead of just a minute ago, I did this thing. So that's just a me thing. Once I get them all trimmed, I'm going to take my round nose pliers and basically turn all of those little tails hanging off into a loop. So there's my round nose pliers, and I am just going to the end of that wire, and I'm going to twist that wire up, reposition my pliers, and complete the loop. And I'm going to do that for all of those dangles. Just like this. And like I said, I like to do all of this at the same time so that I make sure I kind of leave the same amount of wire on there to twist, and so that all of the loops end up the same size, and it just gives me a little more consistency. All right, we're getting there. I could have sped this up a little bit, but I wanted to make sure, especially for this last one, that you saw everything really well. And if you had any questions, you could see it kind of in the video, but you'd know really what I was doing and you could ask me. All right, once those are all done, I like to take my chain nose pliers and just make sure all of those loops are flattened, so that they'll hang right on the whatever they're hanging from. In this case, that chain link. So I'm going to go through each of these and just straighten them, make sure the loops are completely closed, and just get them looking really nice. And then once that's done, I'm going to open them by using those chain nose pliers and twisting just like that. I won't be pulling them open. I'll be twisting just like you would a jump ring. And once I get it open enough, I'm going to just slip it straight onto that chain link and twist it closed. And then I'm going to do that with every single one of those. I've got a pattern on there where I've got like a light, dark, light, since there's 5. And I do like to use 5 or a odd number when I do dangles so that they hang a little more neatly, and so you have a center one when they hang. Otherwise, it's going to be a little wonky. Now, once I get all these on here, I'm just going to do that same twisting motion to open the loop on my ear wire and then slip that at the top of that wrapped loop that we made a minute ago on the button. And I will make sure that the way I attach my ear wire is so that the button faces out and not toward the where the open end of the ear wire is. And that's it for this, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this series. If you have any questions, as always, just let me know. I am more than happy to answer them. It's been a joy to share this with you, and I hope you'll come back and see what else I have in store later. All right, y'all. I'm going to give you a couple pictures of these finished earrings and keep on crafting on. Thanks for watching. Bye.